my world. So of course this is round 2 now. I said that wrong at the end of the last video. The first round is normally round 1 and the second round is round 2. Funny how that is. I wasn't winning that many die rolls. I just noticed that. But that's fine. I'm really thinking about keeping that hand on the draw, but 1-2 drop, as great as that is, and 6 lands, no. But that's why I hate mulliganing. I get 6 cards and I have 2 lands, a few expensive creatures. 2 of those need double blue and I only have forests, but I can't mulligan again. I just have to draw out of that. If I get to the late game, okay. I will have enough spells at least. And then my opponent starts with a 2-drop. So far things don't go well for me. No second land here. And I'm getting beaten down. At least it's just a normal curve with a 2-1 on turn 2 and no bestow stuff or heroic stuff. And then I'm very happy to see that my opponent doesn't curve out either. The Snarecaster staying the only creature on the board. And I was happy to draw that island. And with some luck, I'll draw another land now. Master of Waves only for 1 token, still applying some pressure. And here goes the only card I can play, and which makes sense. I could grip tide the token, but that wouldn't help me much. It's a 2 on first strike. But the thing is, if my opponent attacks right now, I cannot block. There's a million tricks, and I cannot afford to run into them, into those. But it doesn't, and that gives me some breathing room. Now things look a lot better. So let's put out that big creature, which can attack again. My second blue opponent in a row. And now my opponent is kinda stymied unless he has a big play. Well, if that is his big play, I can deal with it, I guess. Although his monster is only 1 turn away from going monstrous if he hits another land. And I'm 2 turns away. But then again, I would even survive 1 attack of that monster. So use the opportunity to put down the Kraken. And hope I can get to the late game and to add lands to win with it. There was no window of opportunity to use Grip Tide in a meaningful way. My opponent continues to play small creatures, but has no synergies, no way to punch through. And I'm happy with that. Now my Silic monster can already go monstrous, if I want to. And that's what I want to do, but at the end of his turn, with Grip Tide and Fair Invocation open. He still doesn't have a 6th land. What he does have is a Medomai. Well, Sea God's Revenge would have killed me outright here, but the flyer I can kinda deal with. I just need to hit an 8th land for Shipbreaker Kraken. And since I have a Grip Tide, I will have another chance to find it. But first make sure I have the biggest creature on the board. No 8th land here. Well, Sea God's Revenge would still blow me out, but I just play assuming he won't draw it. And in that situation, I think it's a good idea to soften him up a bit so I can win in short order afterwards. Of course, if he makes a stupid block, my Field Invocation and Grip Tide would punish him, but that's not happening. And somehow I'm already in the lead with him at 12, me at 16, but he has a way better board. So, what to do? First, put his Midumai back on this library, not that he gets an extra turn, and prevent him from drawing something useful. Still assuming he doesn't already have something useful in hand, but that's quite likely. And then just add to the board. I'm thinking about passing the turn here and leaving for Invocation open, but I don't see what that is going to achieve. So I just play another creature. And here comes Midumai again. And that's not going to help him. Here is the 8th land for Shipbreaker Kraken. So yeah. Not much to do. Just tap down everything remotely threatening. One, two, three, and thinking what now for. I might have tapped the token instead. Would probably have been better. Since he loses the token anyway when he blocks with Master of Waves, which he has to do. Well, then again, but then why would I not want to tap the Philosopher? No, it's fine. He needs a miracle to get out of this. Triton Tactics would be good. He could untap his Midumai with it. Get an extra turn, maybe draw something else. But other than that, there are very few ways I can lose this game. So that's his last draw step probably. No Secret's Revenge. He's dead. Now what to do about him? Lost in the Labyrinth. That didn't seem like a matchup where it's crucial. Seal of Monster is actually good, and the game might go long enough that I want to keep Shipbreaker Kraken in. Gainsay obviously has merits. I'm thinking about trading wins. He didn't play that many flyers though, and have other ways to deal with those. So I go with Gainsay instead, and keep my main deck intact otherwise. Deciding game round 2. It's not the greatest hand, but it has the potential to develop. And since he's on the play, I have an extra draw step. Still only one creature, and that creature being a 1/1. That's not great. He has a 2-drop. That's not good for me. I draw another land. So this game is not going too well. But once again, I'm happy to see that my opponent just does not want to attack me, does not want to trade his Philosopher for my Scorpion. I don't know why he wouldn't, but he didn't. Well, it's just 2 damage, but who knows, in the end, 2 damage might make all the difference. And no need to play for invocation here. Now just run out as his emissary. I'm thinking of dissolve and think, well, it's unlikely he has it, and he doesn't have dissolve. What he does have is a null. That hurts, because the emissary, with the help of the invocation and the Cryptide, would probably have gone on to win me the game. So he strongly disencourages me to block his Alcide. But that's okay. I'm still on 20, I just take it. And try to go for the 2 for 1 with the Pharaoh invocation. If that doesn't work out, I'm still on not too low life total and can put down Shipbreaker Kraken. So this is what I'm doing. First I make sure that I'm blocking, not to take unnecessary damage. Then let's see if it has a trick. He taps some mana. And I think, ouch. Voyage's End would not be that bad. Divine Verdict maybe. What is it? I cannot solve that mystery, I'm afraid. He just untaps his lands and lets his Philosopher die. Don't know what he was thinking. Maybe he has a Sorcerer in hand. But there's Sealock Monster. Luckily 2 turns away from getting monstrous. And the Scorpion can still stop it. So we both have rather clumsy draws. With my deck, that's not normal. I don't know about his decks. But that is a Master of Waves for a lot of tokens. That's a problem. I can grip trade the Master, killing the tokens, obviously. But that's not that great an idea because it just comes back. I'm at 14 life. So I just run out another blocker and hope that it will be enough. I'm 1 land away from getting the Kraken online. Well, that's the story of the Kraken. Just like with the Keepsake Gorgon. You always almost get to use them, but in the end, you seldom do. And now we see the trick he didn't play before, I assume at least. Voyage's End on my Kraken. Yes, that was probably a better use than saving his Philosopher. Snarecast on the same turn is brutal, of course. And suddenly my 14 life doesn't look like a great cushion. So what am I going to do? Well, obviously I'm going to die. It would be nice if he had kept the monster back, but he didn't. He could have attacked with the Master of Waves even. I'm not sure it would have made much of a difference. Would have been at 1. So I'm at 4. Still all those tokens are there. And my hand is still quite clumsy. I cannot afford to replay the Kraken. So I'm going for the only line of play I can see which prevents me from dying immediately. But it will not be good enough. So here comes the all-in attack. I must block the Alcide, even though it draws no card, but I have to get that Fate Foretold off the table, since he will replay his Master on his next turn. So his elemental tokens disappear. My monster eats his Alseid, but I still go down to 2. And he draws the master immediately. And even worse, there's a Vaporkin to go with it, so that's it. There's no way I'm getting out of that. So on to a third game. Well, I already have that Gainsay mainboard, so there's not much I want to change. I just need a better draw, need to apply more pressure. I cannot really lower my curve. I could put in Breaching Hippocamp, but let's be honest, it's not going to achieve anything. I just have to have faith in my deck. And my deck delivers. This is a great hand. Well, not great, but it's good. 3 lands in both colors. Vaporkin for second turn. Once again, the Shipwrecker Kraken is something you do not want to see in your opening hand. But I'm lucky to draw that Corsair now. And being on the play and seeing that he does not have a 2-drop, even though he plays quite a few, this is pressure. Vaporkin comes in, Corsair comes down. Stymie Tops would have been nice here. Instead he has Voyage's Hope, which is helpful from his perspective, of course. Preventing quite a lot of damage the Corsair would have dealt. Scrying him into a better hand. But my draw is near perfect here. So Vaporkin comes in again. Corsair comes down again. And I even have a Sedge Scorpion to make use of that 4th mana. The Elder's just big enough to block my Corsair. But he seems to be stuck on 3 lands, that's why he plays the chosen by Heliod. Now the Corsair wouldn't trade with the Elder. So that option's off the table. But I can still get in for 3. Unless he's willing to trade Sedge Scorpion with the Elder. Which it turns out he is. Or maybe he has a trick instead? Yes, he has a trick instead. So God's willing, I lose my Scorpion, that's not a big deal. I believe he just wanted to scry. And of course, it does prevent a little damage. But here comes down the Raptor, another flyer. Not that easily blocked in this format, since stuff like Vaporkin, Bloodhole Harpy or Nimbus Naiad are weak against first strike. Now he attacks, which is really strange. I have no idea why he does that. He needs to keep my Corsair from attacking. Maybe thinks he has to race now and is willing to jump. Well, then go ahead and jump. Or maybe he thinks he can draw into Sigurd's Revenge or whatever. Even if he has Battle-Wise Veiler, I can live with that. But he tended to bounce the Corsair. Still desperately scrying, probably for land. And all the while taking damage in the air. But this just means that I now can, well, after the first damage step, apply even more pressure. He's still 1 turn away from a Secret's Revenge, which I can gainsay then if I keep mana open, and that's a third flyer he has to deal with. I'm still at 17, I don't need to block if he attacks. Which he does. No problem. Not going to lose my Chimera to Battlewise Veiler. Vaporkin to stem the bleeding, but that's fine. Trades with my kin, he still takes 5, which means I have lethal on the board. Note the Shipbreaker Kraken stuck in my hand. Here's the Corsair, and I have Gainsay open. Very likely to be useful against whatever he does now to get out of this situation, but he doesn't have anything.